everyone, it's Gabrielle from My Lovey, and I'm glad you got to join us this evening. We're going to be talking about how to do etching glass, which is quite a nice little task that you can do and stuff like that. And people always think it's, very expensive to do, but it really isn't. And I'm going to try to take you step by step on how to do it. And one of the things, it will seem to take longer than I'm displaying, how to do it, but it really, I think when I did all three in my demo, I think it took me a total of like 15 minutes to do. So it's something you can really do very quickly and easily. So to get started, I just want to give you a little bit of history about us. We are located in Windham, Maine. We are an online gift shop, and we also have a licensed bakery and chocolate shop. So it's really good to, see everything that we have on our website. You can get there at mylovey.com, and you can also reach out to us on our Facebook page. So let's dive right in, and that's a little bit about us. So one of the things I want to tell you is we have lots of different components here. So I want to tell you all the different things you need and what things, if you're just starting out for the first time, what you might not want to try, just because it's a little bit more technical. So as you can see, we had done 3 different kind of glasses. I think you can probably see them here in there. And we had 3 different designs I had on the event there. So we're going to do one of them today, but I'm going to show you also how to make your own. So I have a Cricut, so of course, it makes it a little bit easier, and you can do some more intricate things, but some of them you can do quite easily. So the first thing I wanted to go over is all the things you need. Normally, I'm in my studio right now trying to get the lighting correct still, but you do need water. I brought some water down with me, so I can show you, because with the etching you do need to rinse it off. So the first thing is we're going to, like those, just a straight little glass. The big thing you want to remember is when you do glass, don't spend a lot of money on the glass, because it doesn't work with colored glass. So if you had a really nice blue glass or red glass, keep those really pretty glasses just the way they are and don't etch them. For some reason, the etching cream that I use really doesn't work well on that. Also, you want to make sure that the glass is not really bumpy. Like a ball jar has all those raised glass things. You have to make sure that the stencil stays nice and flat and adheres really well. So if you have a lot of undulations in the glass, it's not going to sit well, and the etching cream could seep underneath. So that wouldn't be good. One of the other ones that's really good, I just had a nice little small, one of those ball, they're like with that little bale thing like that. You can put candy and stuff like that. We're going to do one of these in there. Also, a lot of times people have long pillars. So what you're trying to do is, even if it's round, you don't mind. You just don't want it super curvy, because you have to remember you have to adhere the stencil to the glass. So you want to make it a little bit as easy as you can for yourself. One of the things that I was talking about being round is, how they're really pretty, these nice little Christmas balls, and you want to do a nice little etching on there. Definitely you can. It's just, it's a little bit more, practice makes perfect, because you're going to have to cut the stencil to make sure it lays really, really flat. So this cream doesn't go in. So those are the glass things you want to do. The other thing is that you will need is, let's see, even though you wash your glass or whatever you're going to do, you want to make sure it's really clean. I always spray it with alcohol to make sure that it stays really clean, no grease marks. You never know, you have a little bit of oil on your hand. All of that will affect the etching cream. So most of us have, just regular old alcohol. This is the 70% one. It doesn't really matter. It's really good. You just do a few little squirts or dabs, however you have your alcohol, and you just want to clean it and dry it really well before you adhere the stencil on. The other thing is, I always have masking tape. Most of the time, my stencils, I have a little bit of extra to protect the glass so it doesn't get etching cream on there. But if you're working in the really tight little area, you just put some masking tape on where you don't want it to be etched. And think of the etch as the part that looks frosted. So there's that. A lot of times I will use just a regular old sponge brush, and you want to make sure it has a handle on it because it's a little bit easier. You have to remember the etching cream is like an acid, so you really don't want to have it so your hands are, you know, really in it, which is why I wear gloves. So those are the basic things. And then of course the stencil. So I have a lot of different stencils here. The one we're going to be doing is just my love one, which I already pre-cut out, but I'll show you how to do that. But because a lot of people may not have a Cricut or any kind of stencil cutting machine, you want to make your own. So a lot of times it's really cool is you can take, you know, your regular little cookie cutters. You want to measure to see how it would fit. You know, so you want to make sure the stencil fits in the area that you want. I also had a pumpkin in here that I traced. You know, it's probably a little harder to see, but just take, you know, some really very simple design cookie cutters and you can make your own stencil, especially some of the simpler designs. And what's really interesting, so what I did was, you have the stencil. So here I cut out this apple. And it was, I just want, you know, I'm going to adhere it on there, and this is the part that I want clear. But let's say I wanted it to be frosted, but I want to do a heart, let's say. So what I did was I drew the heart from this little stencil little cookie cutter right here onto the stencil material, and then I just took my little trusty X-Acto knife and just cut it out. And the thing you always want to remember is when you're cutting out, you're either doing it where this is going to be the part that is not frosted or etched, or you take out the stencil and therefore you have, when you put it on, this is the part that will get the etching cream and the rest will not. So it all depends the kind of look you want to do. I was thinking if we were doing it on these nice little jars right here, you know, it's really cool because the part that is going to be protected, which will then be clear, would be great if you filled it with like M&Ms or anything, you know, something very seasonal. You know, if you're doing a nice little gift for Valentine's Day, it's really cool to have that. But you always want to make sure, decide whether you want the stencil to be the part that is frosted or etched, or you want it to be clear. So that's only the big decision you really have to make. So we will do that. So to get started, we will just take all of these. I will put on my gloves, and I usually run the water up in my kitchen, but I'm down in my studio, so it's a little difficult to do that. So I brought a big pan of water in here, and hopefully it will do the same thing, but hopefully you'll get the idea of what I'm talking about in the event it doesn't work out as well. So what I do, first thing you'll do is you put on your gloves right in here. And then I've already put these through the dishwasher, but I still have to do, because they've been out, I still have to run them with the alcohol. So I have my alcohol because I use it for a lot of different things. I have it in a spray bottle. That's the way I happen to buy it. Just take some paper towel. It's really, really simple. You don't have to be too fussy. I just kind of spray it a little bit in there and decide where you want to do it. So I'm going to do it just on this one side, the etching. So get it in there. It's going to be, you'll hear it nice and squeaky, squeaky clean. And the good thing about, you're seeing I'm using like a blue kind of stencil material. But a lot of times you don't even want to do that. Granted, you can probably buy the stenciling material, you know, with the Joann's or any of the big craft stores, or even online. They're totally fine. They don't really cost that much. But another really good one is actually the Duck brand clear contact paper. Works really good. I use it as my relief paper, but you can definitely, if you're doing your own stencils, use this. And I mean, this probably costs $3 and it's like 25 yards. So you and your friends can have a lot of fun with this stuff. It really isn't expensive, and it goes a long, long way. The only thing you have to remember is these stencils are like a one-time use. So because once you get the etching cream on, you're washing it and you're peeling off, it really won't be able to be adhered again. So now that we got that done, I'm going to take my glass and I'm going to take my glove off because sometimes it's really difficult to do it. So I will easily take this off. And you just want to peel the back off. So you have it looking like this. And then I am just going to eyeball it on where I would like it to be. And you're just going to press really, really, really hard. I usually take a, what do you call it, a credit card. I have some things that I can use personally that just stretch it out really, really good. And I put it on crooked, of course. I do this all the time. So many of these and I never have a problem. So you just want to make sure that it is on really good. I could take anything. I didn't bring my thing right here. Just want to press it down really, really good. And mostly where you want to press is where it is open. So right now I am trying to put the stencil on there and I want to make sure that where it is going to have the etching cream, it stays really, really nice. So we'll go in here. There we go. Get it really, really good. And really this is the hardest part of the whole thing, is making sure that is on really well. And then I'm just going to peel off the transfer tape, which I use as the, it's always funny, you do it all the time and then it's like when people are watching, it takes forever to come off. So let's go and leave myself a big enough tail to grab it. There we go. And I usually don't pull straight up, I kind of pull sideways kind of thing, so it stays really adhered in there. And I'm just pulling off this contact paper. That's what I use. So it goes off and done. And now you just want to make sure that it is really on there good, especially where you're going to be putting the etching cream. So make sure it is on there really, really well. Usually you can see, I like to use the blue because you can see if there's any kind of bubbles in there. And there we go. Now I'll just take this and really rub it really, really well. There we go. And then one is done. So now it's ready to add the etching cream. And this one is one I just happened to draw a really cute little heart. So I am going to just, and I use the contact paper. So I'm just going to pull it off because I want it to be all clear except where I put that. Let me just clean it with the alcohol. So just spray it really quickly and wipe it down. And like I said, this is really, really, really easy to do. And so now we'll just take our little stencil that we made, and it was just a simple little heart. You know, a lot of times you have those really simple cookie cutters, and they're really good to use. So I'm going to think, where would I like to put this? I'm going to put it kind of low. I'll just line it up, and there we go. Now just make sure I got it really, really down well. So this one, because I put the stencil on, everything else is going to be frosted except where I have the stencil, and that's going to keep it from getting any of the etching cream on there. So that's those. So now I'll show you the next step, which is really good. So let me just put those over there. Put my gloves back on. It's just easier to put the stencil on when you don't have your gloves on. You put them on. I use the Armor Etch, which is I have, this one is the 10-ounce jar. They're kind of expensive, like this was $20, but just about every big box craft store like Joann's or Holly Lobby or Michael's or any of those, they always have those 40 or 50% coupons. You always can use it there. So I had a 50% off one. The 10-ounce was like 20 bucks. So I got it for 10. So, and it lasts a really, really, really long time. And I think the smallest size is like 3 ounces. So it really does last a long time. You just want to make sure you shake it all up. And then open it up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the two. Now, if you were doing a lot of these, you probably would want to have it open, the windows open, but we're not doing it for that long and not that many pieces, but it does have a slight odor to it. So you just want to be very mindful of that. So with that, I'll start this. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do the whole jar. I'm going to do the front just to give you an idea of what it's like. So I will just dip it in here and you're just going to apply it on there. It's really that simple. So I'm going to put it on here. You want nice even coats. I like it kind of thick to make sure it really does get etched really, really well. But we'll just put this on really good. But I like the little sponge brushes because they really do a nice even application of the cream, so it works out really, really well. So we'll just do that. And really, I mean, it's not like rocket science here. It's really, really simple. We do have a lot of stencils on our website that you can buy if you wanted to make, you know, more intricate one or something like that. And you can just tell us what size you need and I'll be happy to make them for you. And they're very reasonable. So, and there you go. So now you'll just sit that there. Now what we're going to do is take the one that we wanted to just do the letters on the inside. But I want to make sure because just in case, I'm going to take some masking tape and I'm just going to protect the edges of it just to make sure nothing goes all around it. You don't want to etch on the inside of the glass or whatever jar you're using. Not that it's toxic or anything. You can run them in the dishwasher and everything else like that. So that's not the issue. It's just put it on the outside. This is a lot different than those machine ones, you know, where you're, you know, putting a drill kind of thing and making the etch. But so we'll just put a little bit of tape just in case I get a little sloppy in putting on the etching cream. And just put it on there just to be on the safe side. And so this one. And then one at the bottom. And like I said, all I did was just to be on the safe side, just in case you get a little sloppy. I just put a little bit of the blue masking tape, you know, the jungle, you know, the Gorilla tape, whatever the blue, I always call it the painter's tape, whatever is your favorite brand usually works well. Put my gloves back on and get that in there. And then we will put on the other one. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to take it. So that's why it's really good to just do it like this. I stick my hand in there, apply in there, and I'm just going to put it on there. And I want to make sure that I am nice and even. So there we go. And I like to put a nice even heavy coat on there just to make sure it stays really, really good. In there. And what's really interesting is you don't have to wait very long for this stuff to etch. Most of the time it's like 3 to 5 minutes that you're putting the etching cream on, you know, letting it sit. That's why I always have my timer. I mean, if you want to have I wouldn't go very far, you know, get a drink or anything like that, but, you know, just be really mindful of it. And is it. I mean, really, that is all there is. And depending on how, so now we'll let them sit. That's all we had to do with this. Let me just put this in a paper towel so we don't worry about that. The good thing is, like, if you put a lot of goop on it, what's really good is you can actually peel it off and put it back in the jar. So it isn't like, oh, it's, you know, really bad or whatever. So now I'm going to set, I will set the timer for 4 minutes, usually between 3 and 4. The this particular brand says about 3 minutes. You know, it says, what is it? I think it's 2 to 3 minutes, something like that, for it to be etched. But I like to just do just a skosh more, so I always at least do the full amount of time it says to do. But anyway, so think of it this way. That's as simple as it is. The best things to do, if you wanted to do something that was more round, same thing applies. You just have to be a little bit more mindful of how you cut the stencil. So I was just showing you something relatively flat. If you were doing something that you wanted to do, let's say a little bit rounder, like this has a round, flatter edge right over here. So you could take, you know, this type of stencil, you know, we could take the back out of it right here. So, and this one I just drew. It was just the simple, I think it was like pumpkin kind of, or apple kind of thing. It was one of my stencils. Cookie cutters, excuse me. So I use that. And the thing is, you know, you can then just apply it to whatever surface you want to use it as. So normally I would put this on transfer tape, but you just want to apply it, you know, kind of thing. So however you want to do your particular thing is all you have to worry about. And right there. And then you would just put it on there, and then the same thing would apply. So depending on what you want to do, whether you want to have this be the clear or you want this to be the frosted, is how you cut your stencil out. The only thing I wouldn't do, unless you're really, really patient, it didn't take me very long to use, draw it and use my X-Acto knife to cut them out. But if you're doing lots of intricate letters, that might be a little bit, well, if you have patience, that'd be a good thing to do. But it's not impossible to do, it just might be a little bit more time consuming for you to do. But that's all there is to do on those. And what we're trying to do then is, we'll clean up all our mess. Then after we're all done, we only have about another minute to go. I have water. Normally you would then take it and put it in, you know, go to your sink and just, you know, scrub really well and get all the etching cream off. A lot of times I'll run it, you know, put a little soap on it after I take the stencil off and really clean it off really well. We'll try to do as best we can because I'm not in my kitchen right now, but I do have my water. What I'm going to try to do is I will clean some of it off with, you know, my some handy wipes and stuff like that. But typically you would just run it through your sink, just have nice water running, and it really will take maybe a minute to get it all done. But you do want to make sure that you do have your gloves still on because the acid is still strong. And what we can do is on that one, that's okay. I will then, just to make it easier for myself, I'm going to take the blue tape off. Get this one prepped and ready to give it a bath. And there we go. And really, I mean, other than me trying to explain it all to you, I mean, if you were just doing it, you would have been done and dried and probably on, you know, watching TV by now. So it's just one of those kind of things that really does not take a long time to do. So we have 7 seconds to go. So I will shut that off. Let me put my gloves back on because we want to make sure we stay, because it's an acid, so you want to make sure you don't get that on your nice skin. But they have the directions and the warnings or whatever, like most products do. But just want to let you, it is an acid, so you really don't want to do this in your bare hands. I will roll up my sleeves. So let's see now. So now we're going to take my trusty little thing to wash it. going to dip it in here and just wash. All you're doing is just washing it in the bowl. Let me see if I can get it to you so you can see it a little bit better. But so I am just washing the etching cream, and you'll say, oh, it doesn't look like anything is done, you know, kind of thing. But you don't really notice it until you dry it, and I can see that it is etched. So we'll just keep washing and washing, kind of thing. Get it in there. And I will set this one aside for just a second. Let me get a paper towel. I'll put it on there. And then we'll take the other one, the glass we were doing, and the same thing. Wash the etching cream. Usually it's a lot easier if you're doing it in your sink and you're having nice little water running. Makes it a whole lot easier than doing it in a bucket. But at least you get the idea of what we're doing. Honestly, I got these glasses at a Christmas tree shop, and they were like not even $1 each. So like I say, don't spend a lot of money on the glasses because you are etching them. You know, I wouldn't use really good lead crystal because usually those are really, really pretty. So you don't want to do that. So there's that one, and that's literally all there is. Let me just move this out of the way. And I'll get my paper towel. After this, I'll probably go back upstairs and, what's it call it? Give it a good bath kind of thing. So we have that. And then we have this one. So what we're going to do now is I'll take my gloves off. It's easier to take that off. And so now this is the one that I had it, and I was etching on the outside. So we're going to take off the stencil, and let me see if I can dry it a little bit better for you. But you can see how it etched, and that was the heart that I had in there. So where I put the stencil, that was the part that was not going to get the etching cream. So now if you had done the whole jar, you could put your candy in there, and the candy would show up really pretty with a nice little ribbon. It makes a really cute little gift. And literally, these cost like $1, maybe, you know, $1 or so for M&Ms or whatever kind of candy, depending on the jar size that you have. Nice little ribbon. Makes a cute little gift, you know, for teachers or any kind of, you know, good friends that you might want to have that love anything that you'd like to put in there. You can put potpourri, whatever you'd like to do. But that's a good way to do it if you want to see what's inside. That's the, I call it the non-frosted, but I think you can see it pretty good in there. I'm trying to get it on my sweater. So now, this is the one that was the other way. So we'll take this off. I really stuck that on well. So we'll take this off. And these really come out very, very nice. And they come off really good because, you know, now they're like a little bit wet. So, and what's really good is these can go in the dishwasher. You don't have to worry about hand washing them. Normally I have my little pick that I do these with, but get that one little one out. There. And so now, let me just get a clean one because I don't want anything that might have etching cream on it. And I'll wash these out better, but, you know, and let me just take a little bit of alcohol. We'll clean that up. And it's funny, you won't see it until it's dry. So. And there you go. And trying to get it so you can see a little bit better. Get it in there. But you can see it has the nice little love in there. And that is basically the really, really simple way of doing some really good etching with your etching cream. And like I said, it's really, really simple. You can spend a lot of time in making really cute designs, or you can just do really simple ones and just have it on nice little jars and fill them up with, you know, your favorite thing. Also, if you had like really inexpensive stemware, you can always always frosting, you know, tape the top and just frost maybe the legs of the wine glass, and it makes it really, really nice gifts. So there's a whole bunch of different ideas you can do, but you know, a lot of times if you do want to get a cutting machine, you know, some of them are not as expensive as others. It all depends on how much you want to do. But if you don't want to get a cutting machine, you definitely can still do some really good etching without them. So I'm glad you joined us this evening, and have a good holiday coming up, and stay warm and have a good evening. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye-bye.